So scenario, we are curious about how certain tasks impact the amount of time students can hold their breath, sitting at a desk eyes closed, hopping on one leg, standing eyes open. So if I want to talk about this like pieces from yesterday, what is my response variable? You, they, students, I don't care about that part. What is my middle units? So because you are people, I can call you, because that's a more specific, only if it's people. You don't need to write it as explanatory variable because we split it up. What are the factor or factors? We have factors and we have what? So knowing that we have factors and levels, what is the factor? Tasks or actions, because my wording is just thrown together. So how many levels do I have? 3. What are they? The 3 that I listed right here. Those are the levels. I don't think that there's any vocab that's on that sheet that I couldn't have just gone through. Tying it into this one. There's nothing that I missed that looks like I could talk about it with that, right? I don't think so. Could we have blinding in this scenario? Could the students be blinded in this scenario? Why? Because they know what activity they're doing. We can't have them not know which activity they're doing. Can we involve a placebo? No, because you're going to know what you're doing. This one isn't straightforward. Actually, none of those are really a control group. Maybe sitting in a desk with your eyes open would have been a control group, but this one doesn't really have like a set thing that is your control group. If we can't blind, we can't double blind. And so what are our treatments? How many treatments are there? 3, because we have one factor. So how many levels there are is how many treatments there are. So these are our 3 treatments. Everybody good with that? All right, so I am taking our entire class population. So everybody's got to be numbered. We're going front to back, this way to this way. Call them out in order. So you're 1, keep going.
1, 2, 4.
Front to back.
5, 6,
7,
8, 9,
10. Remember your number. You're 11, right?
12,
13, 15, 16, 17, 18,
19, 20, 21, 22, 24,
32.
Okay, so we've got 32, but we've got 3 groups. So can I do that perfect? So how can I address, so what's my issue going to be? I've done that like 4 times, sorry. What's my issue going to be? Why can't I do that with my groups? This is a hard question. 32 is not divisible by 3. So I can still do this, but we have to decide what? We have to decide what? So if it's not divisible by 3, I have to decide what? This is a hard question. How many are going to go in each group? So I'm close to 11. So how many groups are going to have 11? How many groups are going to, and then other groups are going to have what? 10. So I have to decide which group has 10. I'm going to throw in a randomization process for this too. So I've got a die to do this. Well, a die has 6 sides, so I'm confused. So what do I do? Okay, so 1 and 2 would be here. 3 and 4 is here. 5 and 6 is here. So when I roll a die, whatever side it lands on, what's that going to mean? Which group has 10? So those have to do it twice, and then it's pointless. Okay. So 6. So this group has 10, and we're going to give the other 2 groups 11. So is it perfect? No. But I did randomization, so I didn't have any control over how it went. Is that still pretty close? Yeah, that's fine. So now we're going to get into deciding who goes in what each group. I'm going to see if I can remember how to do this. Oh, I hope I did. Unless I didn't download this. Okay. So our population has, y'all don't have to know how to do this, 32 people in it, right? 32? Yes. Okay. So my sample 1, my group 1 is going to be, I'll call it treatment 1. Treatment 1, I need to sample from the population. I want how many in my first treatment? And then this is part I gotta remember to do. Population. I have to reset my population. I can't remember what it's called. You don't have to worry about this part. I'm just doing it so we don't have to actually sit here and like do table of random digits drop. And then treatment 2 going to be sampling from what's remaining of the population. 111 again. Okay, so treatment 1 is going to be back to here. So sitting in a desk with your eyes closed are numbers 7, 9, 26, 20, 28, 19, 25, 15, 8, 32, and 4. So if I just called out your number, raise your hand really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Somebody did not raise their hand. Raise your hands again so I can so I can see them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, there you were. Okay. And then treatment 2, and these are the people who will be hopping on one leg. 22, 24, 12, 3, 11, 21, 29, 16, 13, 10, and 2. Raise your hands high so I can count those. Make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so if you weren't in one of those groups, do I need to do it again? Because if I haven't called you out, then what? Then you're the last one, so you're standing with your eyes open. So what we are going to do is actually kind of do this. No, I want stopwatch. Okay, so if you are supposed to be standing, which is about 2/3 of you, go ahead and stand. Now, the whole hopping on one leg thing, I realize you don't have that much space, but like you should be fine enough to like, I mean, I don't need you like jumping 12 feet in the air or anything, like just hopping on one leg. So what I'm going to do is count down. And when I count down, guys, listen, when I count down to 0, everybody starts. So you hold your breath. As soon as you open your eyes, you have to look and see what time it was. Number one, I always get somebody goes, oh, I forgot to look. Well, that's the whole point of this. We can't start over. The other thing is, this sounds really bad, but you have to take this very seriously or otherwise nothing works. Because if somebody laughs and other people start laughing, it literally kills everything. So you just gotta not start laughing in the middle of it. Questions? All right, so everybody's doing it at the same time. As soon as I say 0 or go, you'll start holding your breath. Look at what time it is when you stop and write it down. Everybody good? All right. 3, 2, 1, go. If anybody's still doing it, raise your hand. But I think that got everybody. Okay. All right. So the point of today is the general process. But after making y'all do that, like we're gonna at least see what the results were. So let's go with group 1. I gotta figure out if you're group 1, stand up because otherwise I can't tell who you are to see who. All right, so you're gonna go in order and tell me what your number of seconds were.
32.
And then you can sit down. I just gotta do it so I can tell who I'm looking at.
31. 38. 35. 57.
50 what? All right, treatment group 2, if you'll stand up for a second. Also, I realized in the middle of the video, I really wish I would have switched it to like camera and then showed on y'all while I watched the video. That would have been more fun, but whatever. Okay.
28. 36.
That got me everybody right. Why did I have one more in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I only have 10 people in group 1. That's an issue. Interesting. Okay. Group 3. If you'll stand up just so I can see who I'm going from.
29. 40. 38.
33, 34, 31,
31.
40,
37.
27. What was that last one?
37.
Both of them were 37.
39.
So, like, someone surely realizes that they're the only one in here that didn't stand up and give me a number, right?
Yeah.
Who was it? Okay, that's fine. I would rather do that. God, now I don't remember how to add. I think I do it this way. I'll just copy and paste it. I don't remember how to do that right now. What was yours? Okay. So let's go with, we'll just look at the means of each one of them. So our averages were 37, 28, 35.8. What was group 2? Hopping? That makes sense. for the standard deviations of 5.3, 5.2, and 3.8. That's interesting. So I could graph these two, but we don't need to get into that much detail. So definitely the mean of group 2 looks to be a lot lower than the other two. My standard deviation being really low for group 3, what does that mean? They were more consistently around each other's time. So even though group 1 was higher than group 3 was more consistent. So are 11 people or 10 people very much? Is that a whole lot of people? 11 people or 10 people in a group? So if you have one person, is it going to throw things off a little bit if they're a lot higher or lower? Yeah, so it makes a big difference with that. But definitely it seemed like hopping on one leg made a huge difference. Is that probably what we would expect? Yes. Okay, so let's tie this into what this actually means for today. So who did we, I'm going to draw stuff on the board that I don't want you to draw. Who did we, actually y'all can draw this with me. Who did we start with? When we started, okay, we're already this thing, who did we start with? Who did I have to take my sample, or to do my project?
32 students.
32 students. So students is my population. How many did I have at 32? I'm not getting overly critical about this right now. What does this mean? Don't write that. What does this mean? Number of students. But I have two things. So what's the difference between this and this?
One is for the entire population and one is just for a sample.
Population sample. Which one of these do you think would be for the population? The capital or the little lowercase? Capital, and then the smaller one, the sample, is this one. For right now, I don't care if you write that as lowercase n because we haven't talked about that. But since this is the population, technically it's that. All right, so I have my entire population of 32 students. What did I do with all of you? So did I split you knowing something about you? So what did I do to split you? So I went straight into random assignment. And I do want a star right there. I'll explain that part later. So there are two things that are very different, random selection and random assignment. But we haven't talked about it yet. Now is the first time we're having that conversation. When I am doing sampling, when I'm choosing you to be part of my sample, I am selecting you. So that's random selection. When I have my whole group and I decide which treatment you go into, I am assigning you to a treatment. So that's random assignment. The AP exam is very picky about those two, the difference between random selection versus random assignment. So random assignment is when we're doing experiments. Random selection is when we're sampling. So I randomly assigned you into what? 3 groups. What is treatment 1? What is treatment 2? What? Hopping on leg? What was treatment 3? There was something different about these groups. So this is where I write that whether they're the same or different, because I need to know if they're the same or different. What was different about them? What was different about them? We had to decide this part. The what?
The actual level.
But this group, and this group, physically, what's different about them?
One at 10.
One of them had 10. So, treatment 1 had 11, treatment 2 had 12, and treatment, 11. Treatment 3 had 10. So because we're doing like in subscript, if you wrote lowercase n equals here, I wouldn't count wrong for that. Alright, so then what did I do? I actually made you do it. And then what did we do at the end? We what? Recorded the results, and what do we do with those results? So we compared them. I'll write this the exact way. I think I said between. So we're comparing. What am I comparing? I'm going to write this color so hopefully it'll show up on that blue. What am I comparing? Of what? My response variable. I'm just going to say between treatments for this one. Between activities. Activities. Now, what really happens with the compare part and deciding which one's better or which one's worse is like the entire second half of our class. So right now we're just being really vague, and we talked about mean and standard deviation and talked about which one's higher and lower, that kind of thing. But really, we could do a lot more with it. We're just not there yet. Or I could go back to chapter 1 and do stocks with it to compare. Alright, so the only thing I haven't done here is this little star. So underneath, you can put star, put random assignment process. Now, I used a resource that y'all don't have, so we're going to be not as specific as we usually will with this. Usually you have to completely describe the entire randomization process, which I would just do table of random digits, 5 steps. But for now, we're going to say what we did. So what did I do with you guys at the beginning of how I randomly assigned you? What did I do to give you a number? I didn't just go 1, 2, 3, 4. So put in order, put students in order. And order by seating. I'm going to say front to back. Front to back, and then wall to door. I know that's kind of vague, but that should still make sense. So I'll put you in order by seating and assign each what? Assign each of you what? More specific. A unique number. What numbers? So because I didn't use table of random digits, I didn't have to talk about 2-digit number or 01 to 32. This is where you would usually get in more detail, but you're never gonna have to deal with R for this class, which is what I use. So I'm gonna write for right now. I don't want it to mess up. Explain process in detail. So we're gonna practice one where we actually do it. But that's where you would actually write it out in detail. So let's say we did table of random digits. I would have to go assign everybody a number. Let's write it together. Let's do that. Let's practice. So let's say we're going to do this table of random digits. What is my step 1? I don't care if you have it in front of you. Arrange. And we could basically say that same sentence we just said. And I'm just abbreviating because we just wrote it. What would my second step be?
Assign each individual unique number.
So assign each.
Student.
A unique. So what would those be?
Oh.
What's step 3? What's step 3?
Read the table.
We love coming here.
Yeah, keep going. Finish this out.
Anyone want food, t-shirts,
Wax,
wax, shave, cut hair? Right. Shut up. We lost our girl. 1 second. We've been shaved head, we waxed eyebrows, armpits, legs.